Hi, I'm Rob Poyet, and thanks for joining me on Dragon's Teeth today for a little bit of a news roundup. Some things that have happened recently, some things that are going to be happening in the very near future. Before we start, if you could do me a favour and click the subscribe button below, that really does help the channel. In fact, any of your favourite creators, be they on YouTube, writers, musicians, anything like that, one thing that really helps is if you can either subscribe to the channels or leave reviews of their works that you've particularly enjoyed. Doesn't have to be a huge detailed review. Sometimes you can just leave a star rating on Amazon or whichever seller it is. Maybe a couple of lines about how much you enjoyed their book or whatever it was. That really does help. There's so much content out there these days, and with the advent of AI content as well, then it's difficult not to feel as a creator or a creative person that you're not up against it a bit. So any human interaction is always very, very welcome. Speaking of which, I was at Salute a few weeks back, as you'll know if you've seen my report on the show. And while I was there, I bumped into Big Lee of Miniature Adventures. I gave him a copy of my We Want the Gold Fantasy Skirmish rules with no expectation, but I'm delighted to say Lee put up a review of the rules on his channel. I'll put the link up to that below. Now, this is the second review in recent weeks because Paulie over at Lace and Steel also put up a review on her channel as well. And I'm very happy to say, and slightly relieved, that both the reviews were very good. And it was nice because I feel Paulie and Lee both got the point of the rules, if you like. They could both see what I was aiming for with this set, which is not a super crunchy, super realistic simulation of anything and everything that might happen in this big sort of skirmish, but a set of rules that really are there to promote the narrative. Because obviously you need mechanics in a game. What do I need to roll to hit this person, and how much damage does my sword do? That kind of stuff. But the real meat and bones of We Want the Gold is the interaction between players. Because, of course, in that, whereas normally you have side A and side B, in We Want the Gold you have sides A, B, C, D, and well, as many as you want. The only side is my side, and how you interact with the other factions, that really builds the narrative structure of the game. And of course, it's always fun to have a bit of double crossing going on, isn't it? So I'm really happy that they both picked up on that. But they're both old school gamers. I mean, no offence in terms of age, because I'm probably older than both, truth be told. But I was really happy that both gave a positive review, and I'm going to be getting a bit more promotion done on We Want the Gold. It's one of those things that, as anyone will tell you who puts stuff out, particularly books or music, you spend X amount of time building the project, writing, editing, putting things out. Then you find yourself in this position of you've got to spend an equal amount of time, if not more, than trying to promote it. And again, I come back to this current situation where we're up against so much AI produced content across all the social media. It can be a struggle to get your voice heard. But I'm going to be doing some more promotion on We Want the Gold. And my favourite form of promotion is I'm going to be taking it out to some of the conventions coming up. We've got Chaosium Con coming up in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to be there. I might be selling. I might be playing. I've got a feeling it's Chaosium games only at that. But I will be there selling tickets for the Innsmouth Literary Festival and books and a few other bits and pieces as well. I'm definitely going to be putting on a demo at Hereward, the Peterborough convention, in early September. And there's going to be one or two other conventions popping up as well, where hopefully, I'm just waiting to hear back, I'll be able to put on a demo game as well. So I'm at Partisan next Sunday. I'm going to pop up there. Through to total disorganisation on my part, I won't be putting on a game there, but I will have copies of We Want the Gold with me. So if you do see me, come up and have a chat, say hello. I'm going to be doing some filming, of course, so that report should be up a few days after the event. So yeah, huge thanks to Paulie and Lee for those reviews. As I say, I'll put links up to both in the show notes below. They've both got great channels, by the way, as well. So if you haven't, do go and check those out and subscribe. Now, another place where I plan to play We Want the Gold at some time is the Wellingborough Tabletop Gaming Group. You may remember a little while back I was saying about how it's a little bit difficult for me to get down to Bedford Gladiators on a Monday night. I'm running my class until 7. It's about a 20-minute drive across, so I normally get there by about 7:30. This is fine for the RPG games. I'm currently enmeshed in a Rollmaster game run by Darren. That is okay. Doesn't matter if I'm 5 or 10 minutes late. I can sit down and join straight in. If I'm setting up or involved in a tabletop game, of course, there's a little more time needed to get everything sorted. And I do want to do more tabletop stuff. Got 2 RPGs going on at the moment. The Rollmaster, I am a player, and my online Mothership campaign, which we're doing every other Thursday, that is going very well. And I'm putting reports up here on the channel on that as well. But at heart, if I go way back to my roots, I'm a tabletop gamer, and I really want to get back into doing some World War II, some fantastic battles, 10mm fantasy battles, World War II skirmish or 1/300th, and all the rest of it. So I looked around and I found, well, there's 3 or 4 clubs within striking distance, within about half an hour drive. Sometimes the evenings don't work out because, again, I'm teaching. I did try another club. I went to a couple of weeks back. To be honest, it wasn't the greatest experience. I'd messaged the club beforehand, before going. That was fine, said, yeah, come along. When I arrived on the night, there was some games already set up, and I kind of wandered around for a bit. No one spoke to me. I'm not the most social person, you know. You'll always find me in the kitchen at parties, as the old song goes. And I feel a bit sort of, I don't know if rude is the word or obtrusive, if there's a game going on, just walking up and saying, hey, I want to join your game, you know. So I was there for a little while and then I left. I then looked over at Wellingborough. Now that runs on a Friday night, which is great for me because Friday is the only day of the week where I'm not teaching. I don't have classes. I've got plenty of time. And that's easy for me to get to, just the other side of Rushden, about 20-30 minute drive, so that's fine. I got in touch with them and Jerome got back to me. And what they have at Wellingborough that I really liked was you book your table, you book your space. So they've got a Discord, they've got a Facebook and all that kind of thing. You can put up a thing on there, I want to bring X game, is anyone interested? If people say yes, then you go to the spreadsheet and you can book your tables there. So when you arrive, the tables are already set up for you and everyone knows what's going on. So even if you're just turning up on the night, everything is sort of set up and ready to go. And I found everyone there was very friendly and it was easy to get in on a game. In fact, it was James and another chap whose name I can't remember. James brought in a board game called Sniper Elite, which I never played before. We had a couple of goes in that. Very entertaining. Basically, one person is the sniper, sneaking around the German base, and the other players are the guards, trying to spot this person and obviously, terminate their activities. Excellent game. It reminded me a bit of Escape from Colditz back in the day, which we used to play a lot as kids. Which, when I look back on it, in fact, I was looking online at it a few weeks back, seemed an incredibly complex game for young kids to be playing, but somehow we managed it. Anyway, it had those sort of vibes for me, very atmospheric, creeping around, trying not to get caught or letting the dogs loose, all that sort of thing. So I'm going to be going back over to the Wellingborough Club next Friday, and they've got an all-day gaming session on. I think it's the 23rd of May. I'll put the link up below. Now, unfortunately for me, that clashes with chaosium.com, so I'm not sure. Chaosium runs over 3 days, so I might be at Chaosium for 1 or 2 days, depending on my gaming activities. But in any event, if I'm free, I will be going along to the Wellingborough all-day session as well. Now, alongside putting out participation games for We Want the Gold, of course, I am continuing my Innsmouth build. I think I'm going to be continuing this for a long, long time. This eventually, I think Innsmouth is going to be the size of the shed here. It's going to be 20 foot long and 15 foot wide, I think. Obsessed? Who, me? But anyway, I've been doing some more buildings, been making some more buildings, some ruins from scratch, and I'll be uploading the whole process of that very shortly. But just to give you an idea, this is the sort of thing I've been building with some foam board and balsa wood, and some coffee stirrers and other bits and pieces. Now, the issue you have, of course, when you start building terrain of this size is how do you transport it around? Everything I've got so far fits into my B&M, good old B&M plastic tubs of various sizes. But what I'm finding a little bit is it's not so bad when I'm loading in. I can be quite careful. But when I'm packing up at the end of a session, such as at the Bedford Tabletop Expo a little while back, everything's a little bit rushed and everything tends to get slung in the boxes. Generally it's okay, but I've had one or two breakages already. So what I'm looking at doing in kind of Russian doll fashion, I suppose, is boxes within boxes. I was at our local corner shop the other day and I noticed outside he had these metal cages full of boxes which are presumably going off to the recycling centre. I say presumably because I didn't ask, I just helped myself. Well, you know, I am from East London, so, you know. The plan is then to put the buildings into these boxes and then put these into the larger plastic crates. That way they've got a little bit more protection, and that way I kind of build up a system for how things are packed away. I can even make a note on each box. Yeah, the cottages go in here, the road sections go in here, and all that kind of thing. So hopefully that will prevent everything being just jumbled up together and, you know, stop any damage and all the rest of it. So that's the plan for storage. If you have any better ideas, I'm all ears. Do let me know. Do drop a comment down below. I have experimented with quite a few different methods of transport for terrain and figures as well, as I've put up in previous posts. I was in Hobbycraft recently and they had some of these in. They had a lot of these in B&M a while back and I bought some, but then they disappeared. But luckily they turned up in Hobbycraft. These are great for transporting figures. I've got most of my We Want the Gold figures and a lot of my 10mm fantasy in these as well, because the bases just fit nicely. So you've got 18 spaces in there. If you're doing 28mm figures with a little bit of bubble wrapping, you can get 2 or 3 figures layered in those. They're quite deep. So that's a fair amount of figures, and that costs, I think, it's 3 or 4 quid or something like that. So next to B&M, Hobbycraft is my favourite shop at the moment. Okay, that's it for today then. Thanks again for joining me, and if you do seek me out and about, please do come up and say hello. It'd be nice to have a chat. And as always, I appreciate any comments or suggestions that you might like to post below. I'll see you soon. Take care.